How GPUs work. To understand how GPUs work, one must first know what a GPU is and what it's used for. A GPU, or graphics processing unit, is a specialized electronic circuit that takes binary data, the 1011 computer language, from the CPU and turns into a picture you can see. So to summarize, you're going to learn how a GPU, or graphics card, receives binary data from a CPU and turns it into an image you can see. To create an image out of binary data, the GPU begins by setting up a wireframe out of straight lines. Next comes the rasterization. It sounds a lot cooler than it actually is. Rasterizing is the task of taking an image described in a wireframe and converting it into a raster image, or a dotted structure that represents a rectangular grid of pixels that can be seen on your monitor. An example of rasterization is how this wireframe has a much better resemblance of a person after rasterization. For this rendering algorithm to be displayed in real time, it is needed to produce frame rates of at least 24 frames per second to achieve smooth animation. For fast-paced videos or games, the computer goes through this process nearly 60 times a second. So if the graphics card is not strong enough, you will encounter problems like lag and pixelation. It is the GPU's role to bear the responsibility so problems like that don't occur. The graphics card is enabled to do such feats as these by its brethren computer parts, the motherboard, which supplies the data and power, the processor that decides what to do with each pixel, memory to remember information on each pixel, along with a temporary cache of completed pixel compilations, and a monitor to show you the final result. Now that you understand what a GPU is, you can understand what it's used for. A GPU is designed specifically for performing the complex mathematical and geometrical calculations that are necessary for graphics rendering, which would happen in things such as fast-paced gaming, where new motions are happening every moment, thus new calculations are constantly required. Bitcoin mining, where your computer computes mega, giga, and sometimes terahashes per second. A hash is a mathematical equation which is done in hopes of solving a mathematical equation with the Bitcoin and Litecoin mining process, which rewards the user with a block, a large amount of cryptocurrency. For processes such as these, the GPUs need extremely high speeds, thus having extremely high transistor counts, like the GTX Titan with 7.1 billion transistors becomes extremely useful. Congratulations, now you know how GPUs work and what it's used for. The end.